Hey, what's up YouTubers? This is Hectic Chow and I'm playing a game of Demolition on WMD. Now the weapon I'm using is the FAMAS with dual mags. I'm running Ghost, Hardened, and Ninja. And you might be wondering, why is he running this strange setup? And I'm wondering that myself. What I would recommend for Demolition, so these are my recommendations about the best class setup, is actually Flak Jacket, Sleight of Hand, and I would say for the third perk, important one would be Hacker. Simply because this lets you see all the claymores and explosives and also reduces the damage you take from any kind of grenades or claymores. And I think there's a lot of explosive action in Demolition because, you know, you have to take these two bomb sites or defend them, and people are throwing grenades all day long. So that's why I would recommend Flak Jacket. Well, actually the third perk can also be Ninja, because one of your challenges to get Ninja Pro that I always want to complete first is has to be done in either Demolition, Sabotage, or Search and Destroy, and I think, in my opinion, it's easier to do in Demolition because it's easier to get caps. Now, I really like Ninja Pro, and I usually use them for all my classes simply because I have a headset and I can hear and I can sound whore, and I don't like to hear my own footsteps, and I like to be able to be more silent. I think it's an advantage. You're probably thinking, oh great, another commentator with the FAMAS. When is this shit gonna end? But to be honest with you, why would commentators dumb themselves down and give themselves more of a disadvantage by using a weapon, by using any other weapon than the best one in its class? And in my opinion, that's the FAMAS. Now, it isn't that bad with the assault rifles because the Galil is great, the AUG is great in my opinion. There are a lot of nice assault rifles, so this could be really any assault rifle. Any of the ones I just mentioned. So, you know, people are always complaining about the commentators using the same weapons. Well, they're doing it for a reason. Why would you use some shitty weapon just to, you know, just for a commentary? You should pick the weapon you like and be comfortable with. You shouldn't have to be stuck to a weapon you hate just to please the masses. Now back to the gameplay and back to some tips on Demolition. I think it's important not to just sit at the bomb sites, because then if your whole group is sitting at just A or just B, then they have an easy way of surrounding you, the people that are on offense. So if you're all just sitting at A or B, you're an easy target. They can surround you, they can pretty much get map control, and they'll have a pretty easy time getting you out of that spot, and then while you respawn, they'll be taking the bomb. So I think a good thing to do while you're on defense that I think a lot of people neglect is just to push their spawn. If you can control their spawn while you're on defense, that's great. Since the spawns don't really flip in Demolition, they don't flip from one side of the map to the other side, you can always kind of assume that they're coming from the opposite side where you're spawning. So no matter what, they're gonna spawn somewhere on that side of the map. So you have kind of an easy targets. If you push them into their spawn, it's only going to make your game of Demolition easier. Of course, this is harder to do with random people, especially on the PC, because, well, A, you can't make parties, and B, most of the people on PC don't actually have a headset, so you can't communicate. And this is some of the drawbacks, but I'm not going to go into the drawbacks of the PC for the PC gamers, because that list is endless. Now back to some more Demolition tips. It's important that you cover all the flanks. So right here you see that the left flank is completely open, and according to my radar, most of the teammates are actually there. Now if you're playing with randoms, you should really check your minimap and make sure you're always covering the flanks, because that just lets them get around and just get easy kills on your team. This is very important for when you're playing with random people, because you can't communicate with them, tell them, hey, can you cover this area, can you cover this area? And I think having a good sense of where the enemy is the #1 tool that you can have in your arsenal as a good Call of Duty player. You can have the shittiest weapon, but if you're always in the right positions at the right time, then you're always going to get the jump on your enemies, and you can kill them that way. Another important tip I'd like to give about Demolition, and really about any game type, when you make a kill and you're sitting in an area, move once you make some kills, because they're just going to come, a lot of players actually just come back to get the revenge kill. Even though that's a bad move, they're going to make that revenge kill, 2 out of 5 times, depending on how good the player is. So make a few kills, move around. I don't do that perfectly in this game. I made some mistakes that I think are stupid after I watched it myself. But I would suggest just move around after you make a few kills, and that will help you survive longer, get better KDs. So the biggest tips I can give you is run Flak Jacket as your first perk, first of all, to avoid a lot of explosive, unnecessary kills, and to run Hacker or Ninja as your third perk, depending on how many, you know, Claymore douchebags there are. And also, don't just sit at a bomb site real close to it. Expand, try to push them more into their spawn. That's the biggest thing. Especially if you're playing on a well-organized team, you're just going to be spawn trapping them the entire game. It's going to be the easiest game ever, and it's going to be great XP. Demolition is actually a really good way to level up, and I would actually suggest doing this when you just prestige. You know, you want to get that Ninja Pro, so why not do some Demolition? Because Demolition is the easiest way to get Ninja Pro, and if you avoid little mistakes and take the tips I told you into consideration, you can easily post, you know, big KDs on this game type while getting tons of XP. You know, Search and Destroy is a nice alternative, but if you're not much of a Search and Destroy player, your results are going to vary, and so will your XP. And I think Demolition is a much more steady pace of income XP-wise. So these are my tips for Demolition and getting off to a nice start once you've prestiged. And, you know, my tip on getting Ninja Pro quickly, if it's important to you. I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about the Woody's gamertag fiasco with that 14-year-old kid who came into his lobby and then started to be all sarcastic and make fun of Woody. And I think Woody handled it like any gentleman would handle it, but I don't think that Woody expected what would happen after that. And what did happen after that is, if I got it correctly, is that a lot of his subscribers and Huppet members sent the 14-year-old kid hateful messages and even death threats, I believe. And I understand why Woody took down the video now, because, you know, in some ways it makes Woody look like a dick, but I don't think this has anything to do with Woody. I mean, he never expected for this to happen, because, you know, he wasn't mean to the kid in his lobby. He just ignored it and kind of talked with them, and he didn't say anything hateful, no sly remarks or anything, but I don't think he imagined he had so much influence on the community. And, you know, let's face it, Woody's one of the big hitters on YouTube now, and his subscribers really, you know, this really shows how stupid some of his subscribers really are, and how bad the YouTube community can be. And I think it's crazy that that kid had to receive, you know, I don't know how many, but he received a bunch of death threats and a bunch of hateful messages to the point where even his parents didn't know what to do about it. And I think it's going a bit too far. Well, this commentary is drawing to a close. I want to talk about my next commentary. I think it'll be a very interesting one, and maybe a very useful one for some of you. I know a lot of you are in high school, you're younger. I'm 22 myself, so I feel like I can give some tips about life. And one of the big things in life is relationships. And I'm going to give some tips about how to approach, or how to, how to get girls. I don't mean how to, have sex with girls or anything like that, but how to be a gentleman, I guess, and how to, find the right girl and how to act. I've been in relationships since I was about 17, and I feel like I can give some input to the community and to my YouTube subscribers anyway. Well, that's all for this commentary. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.